Yo, what's good? Welcome back to another moveset guide video, and today we are going to be featuring Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur is a dragon and ice type Pokemon with the new ability, Thermal Exchange. Thermal Exchange is actually a very scary ability. This Pokemon's attack is raised by one stage when hit by fire moves. It can't be burned. That is pretty OP and really good on switch-ins. So for example, if you have a grass type Pokemon or anything super effective to fire, Baxcalibur can be an alternative switch-in just so you can get that attack boost, and it can't be burned either. So if you are predicting a Will-O-Wisp, feel free to swap in the Baxcalibur. Get them boost. Get the boost. This thing's about to go crazy. Looking at the stats, it's at 145 attack and 115 HP and a pretty good speed. You're more than welcome to run the adamant nature as well, but I want to potentially be outspeeding a good amount of Pokemon or any other, mirror matches. So we're gonna go Jolly, and we'll just be making up the attack boost from the Dragon Dance, and it gets this new move called Glaive Rush. Next turn, attack, can't miss, user, and deal 2 times damage. It is 120 base power. It's a new move. It is extremely powerful. Really powerful. And we're going to be using a multi-hitting move with the with the new held item, as the holders 5-hit multi-hit attacks will always hit at least 4 times. So 4 times, Icicle Spear, you're guaranteed to hit 4 times, and if you're lucky enough, you'll hit the 5. Really cool move, especially if the opponent is using like substitute. You can break sub and still do consistent damage, or potentially just knock out the opponent. So that's Icicle Spear for you. Next move, we have Earthquake. Gotta hit them steel types or any other Pokemon. This Pokemon is absolutely scary. 145 base attack. It's actually pretty wild. Moving on to the next set. It's pretty similar. We are running Choice Band. Again, like I always say in every video, feel free to move any of the moves around. If you don't like a certain move, feel free to swap it for any of the other moves that I'm showcasing here in these current builds. You might find some of the other moves in the Baxcalibur move pool that you might think could benefit from using those specific moves, or just alternate moves all around, and the item as well. We have Choice Band. Holder's attack is 1.5, but we are going to get locked into Choice Band for that duration of time we are out on the field. So we have Glaive Rush, we have Icicle Crash as an option. Not as an option, but this could be really good to have. Either Icicle Crash, or if you want to run Choice Band, Icicle Spear. I don't really recommend it, but feel free to do so. It also gets Ice Fang. But yeah, those are some pretty optional ice type attacks that it can have. Earthquake, of course, and we are going to be using the Ice Shard on this build just to prioritize anything that we can potentially knock out that can be problematic for our team. Next build, we have, instead of Dragon Dance, we have Swords Dance. Feel free to swap Swords Dance for Dragon Dance, but for Swords Dance we get a +2 in our attack. So the deal with this build is to pretty much substitute and then Swords Dance, or if you know your opponent is going to set up hazards or set up screens, you can Swords Dance first turn or substitute. Completely situational depending on what you think is going to be best. Glaive Rush and Icicle Crash, or if you want, you can swap out Icicle Crash for Spear or Ice Fang. It's completely up to you. Don't really recommend Icicle Spear on this build unless you're running loaded dice, which I think is really phenomenal. Let's see. Ice Body. I was kind of thinking Ice Body. If the snow is active, this Pokemon heals 160 of max HP each turn. But we are going to be getting leftovers recovery, so I would probably suggest Thermal Exchange as the option. But yeah, I think that's for this build. I don't really, see this build going out, but it's an option. I think Dragon Dance might be a little bit more fun for this, but it's completely optional. Some cheeky alternative options. Oh man, I thought about Life Orb, Dragon Dance, Glaive Rush, Icicle Crash, and Freeze Dry. Freeze Dry for that fancy tech, just to get those potential one-hit KOs on like Gyarados. As for Freeze Dry, it has a 10% chance to freeze and super effective on water. So Gastrodon, for example, is a ground and water type. So ground is already effective to ice, and it'll be super effective on water, so it'll be 4 times. Same thing with Gyarados and Quagsire. I'm trying to think of some other Pokemon that are water ground as well. But I just, I figured could potentially be used on some cheeky strats. We have the Life Orb as our item. Let's see what else. So we pretty much just covered, the common builds that most likely going to be seeing for Baxcalibur. Yeah. I'm trying to get familiar with the newer items, but I don't think any of the newer items is going to be very beneficial besides the loaded dice. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have for this cheeky build if you want to troll around with Freeze Dry. Let's see, we have some other alternative options. We have the Zen Headbutt. We're trying to go for those fighting types, as fighting types is one of our weaknesses. Iron Head for the fairies, Ice Fang if you don't want to Icicle Crash and you just want to have a little bit more accuracy. It also gets a 10% chance to flinch, but don't get your hopes up on it. It gets Aqua Tail, Brick Break, Crunch could be another good one. We've talked about Earthquake. We don't want to worry about Facade since we can't get burned. But if you want to run Facade and go crazy, if you get paralyzed or something, then feel free to do so. Ice Shard could be really good, depending on what else you're going to be, what you're facing, or if you just want to have that priority just in case for any other Pokemon that are going to potentially outspeed you. So we talked about Icicle Crash, Icicle Spear. We have Iron Head, Outrage. I guess you could also run Dragon Dance, and if you just want more, actually Glaive Rush is just gonna make up for everything. It's 120 base power, and I wouldn't recommend Outrage, I guess, since it does get Glaive Rush. Dragon Claw. Let's see, Terra Blast. Yeah, I don't really see anything that we can, potentially have. If you want to run, apparently, I feels like everything can run Endure or something, but Endure is always nice to have if you know you're gonna get either one tapped, or if a Pokemon has like stats up or something. I forget what berry it is. Is it Lychee Berry? There's Lychee Berry, and whatever berry is the one that increases the speed. I forget which one it is. But Endure Weakness Policy, just in case you potentially want to sweep. You can have Dragon Dance, Icicle Crash, and Glaive Rush. So you'll be wild in here. Even Jolly Nature would work here, and we'll have +2 in our attack, and if you get hit by a fire type attack, Dragon Dance speed, and we're just sweeping. But I think that's pretty much Baxcalibur. If you think you have other options and builds, I think Assault Vest might be one too that people usually will run and just be an all-out offensive mon. Heavy Duty Boots could be one. One of the buff berries. But yeah, that pretty much is Baxcalibur. By far, this is probably going to be one of my favorite builds. But thank you guys for watching, and again, if you guys have any suggestions or builds, feel free to comment them down below. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.